Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Friday session. Now, guys, in this session, obviously, I'm going to be updating you on our watch list. How has this pairs been progressing? And we're also going to be doing what forecasting our entries in advance. So, meaning entries, how does the market have to look like in order for us to execute any entries on any of these pairs? Now, guys, without wasting any time, let us first start by looking at what the DXY, which is what the dollar index. Now, on the dollar index, let us start by jumping into what our daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, so previously we did see price giving us this impulsive move, and then this was what our first continuation, price forming a breakout, impulsing up, and then giving us what this is our second continuation structure, and then price climbing up, and then obviously forming what a bit of a retest. But the overall momentum is still overall to the upside. And then over here we can see what a small corrective structure, but this one is more visible on our mid time frame. So if we can jump on our mid time frame, let us take a look and see how things have been progressing. So in this one, previously this was an impulsive movement, and this was what our overall corrective structure, price from the breakout, impulsed up, and then we did have what our second and our current corrective structure. Now in our current corrective structure, price is near the breakout area, so meaning what it is at that area whereby it's most likely to start impulsing all the way to the upside. And now if we can jump away into our lower time frame. So what are we seeing on our lower time frame? So on our lower time frame, we've been speaking about price giving what some sort of a continuation pattern. I think it was somewhere around there on Wednesday. We were looking for something around there, but that did not happen. Then price impulsed down, and then currently price did give us what this clear impulsive movement, and then this overall beautiful corrective structure. And this continuation pattern is at the breakout point. So also this one is at that point where it is most likely to do it to start impulsing all the way to the upside to confirm what those buys to the upside. So meaning what anything that represents what the US dollar is a base pair is most likely to be bullish, and anything that represents what the US dollar is a cold pair is most likely to be bearish. So the difference between a base and a cold pair. So let me give you a quick example. So if you're coming into what USD CAD, the USD is on the left hand side. It's starting with that USD, meaning what it is a base pair. So when it's a base pair, it means it's going in the same direction with what with the DXY. As you can see, the DXY is what is bullish, meaning what USD CAD is most likely to be bullish. And if you can go on GBP USD, what can you see? GBP is what is the base, and USD is what is the cold pair. So meaning what the USD on this one is going to be bullish, and GBP is going to be what? It's going to be bearish, guys. So that's a small tip for you traders if you don't know that the difference between what a base pair and a cold pair, and using what your DXY as confirmation bias. So that is it on USD JPY. On the DXY, you can see that it is what it is bullish. So now let us begin with that with our overall analysis. So I'd like to start with what these USD related pairs, just because we did touch on the USD. So let us jump on USD CAD. So we did see the USD JP, the DXY being what? Being bullish. So coming on USD CAD. So let us see how the USD CAD, we've been looking at it. So with USD CAD, how we've been looking at this was what our impulsive movement, this was what our overall corrective structure. So on this one, the USD, according to my technicals, was what was bearish because impulse correction. So this was having what high probability of impulsing all the way to the downside. And now if we can do a jump on the forward time frame, what was happening? So this was what this was our impulsive movement, and this was what my corrective structure price did form a mini breakout over there. So my overall bias was still way overall to the downside. But if you can remember, DXY is what is bullish, so this one is also what most likely to be bullish. But our technicals are saying what this is looking bearish. But if you can jump on what on the lower time frame, you can see that our technicals are now confirming that okay, USD CAD, it is now having what high probability of climbing all the way to the upside. Why are we saying that? Because we can see that price, first and foremost, on the daily, it did not give us what this breakout. So on the daily, price did not break out outside of the trend line. As you can see, it only formed that a week. And then if we're now coming into the forward time frame, another confirmation that this is not dropping to the downside is because this did not do what this did not impulse all the way to the downside. Instead, what happened? Price closed back inside of this overall pattern. And now coming into the lower time frame, what are we seeing? Price is now giving us what the continuation pattern to the upside. As you can see, impulse correction. So this is having what a high probability of climbing all the way to the upside. So guys, this is why the DXY is important when we're using it as what when we're using it as our bias confirmation. You can see that the technicals and the what and the overall bias are not in one direction. So this is why we're no longer going to be focusing on on USD CAD. And also on the technicals, they're not aligning. As you can see on the 4-hour, it is not impulsing all the way to the downside. And all out in the lower time frame, it is not giving us what? A continuation pattern to the upside. So for that reason, that is why we'll be removing what? The USD CAD of our watch list. So that is it on USD CAD. So now let us jump onto our GBP USD. So remember on GBP USD, the GBP is looking what? It is looking bearish, and the USD is looking what? It is looking bullish. So now let us jump into our technical. So guys, this is going to be looking a bit messy because I was busy backtesting. So I'll just remove everything just to make things a bit neater for you guys to understand. So on the weekly, this is how I was looking at price. This was what my continuation pattern. Value too soon highs and too soon lows. Price did give me what? A breakout by closing outside of the trend line. So overall, this is having a higher probability of impulsing all the way to the downside. And now coming into what? My daily time frame. This is how I was looking at the daily time frame. This was what? Previous impulsive continuation. And then currently, this was what? My small continuation structure over here. As you can see, price did form a breakout. So I can involve this one, but if I'm doing that, then it means I have to wait for another breakout. But if I'm just keeping my lines like so, then this is what the overall 90% roll. And if I'm extending this overall trend line, this is looking more of what? More of a retest, and the overall momentum is still where? To the downside. So this is how I'm choosing to go with the overall structure. The overall technicals are still the same. Impulse, correction, impulse from what? The mini retest. And if you can see, this is what? An overall corrective structure. So coming into what? Our mid-time frame, what are we saying? This is our impulsive move, and this is our what? Our corrective structure. So the technicals are still the same, impulse correction. So overall, this is having what? The higher probability of impulsing all the way to the downside. So now coming into our lower time frame. So what are we looking for on our lower time frame? For entry. So even if we can place this like so, this still would make a lot of sense in our end. This is our impulsive move. And this is acting as what? This is our continuation. Why? Because it is near the breakout. Remember, we want to have our continuation either just before the trend line or after the trend line. So overall, this is having what? Higher probability of impulsing all the way to the downside, guys. So like so this is how I'm looking at what? The GBP USD for what? For those selling opportunities to the downside. Like so. So that is it on GBP USD. Now let us move on over onto what our next pair, which is what? The AUD and ZD. So this one coming into what? Overall on the higher time frame, you having what? This big structure that's forming a breakout, and now focusing on the daily. This is what our impulsive movement. This is what our overall corrective structure. Price from the breakout started to impulse down. So the overall momentum is still where this is most likely to continue to impulse all the way to the downside. So now if we can go into our mid-time frame, what are we seeing on our mid-time frame? So this was what? Our impulsive movement, and this was what? Our corrective structure. Price from the breakout, and then deep impulse and reached what? The 90% roll. So in the 90% roll, that is when we can see that price is most likely to reverse and move up or continue to break out and drop to the downside. So the clue that is letting me know that this is most likely to continue and drop to the downside, it is because this might be forming what? A continuation pattern. So all that I'm waiting for, this is my impulsive movement, and this is acting as what? As my overall corrective structure. So once this breaks out, then this would be having what? High probability of impulsing all the way to the downside, and this is most likely how I would enter it on the breakout, stop loss above the pattern, and the overall take profit all the way to the downside, like so, guys. Nice and straightforward on this one. So now let us jump on over onto our final pair, which is what? Euro over the Australian dollar. So this one, once again, coming into our daily time frame, this is acting as an impulsive movement. This is what? Our overall corrective structure. Price from the breakout. So this is having what? Higher probability of impulsing all the way to the downside. And now if we can jump into our mid time frame, what are we seeing on our mid time frame? So on our mid time frame, this is our impulsive movement, and this is our what? Our overall corrective structure. So once this breaks out, this will be having what? Higher probability of impulsing to the downside. And now if we're jumping into what? Our lower time frame. So what are we looking for now? And so price has already given us what? this is our first continuation pattern from the breakout. So now all that we're waiting for is to see whether price will give us what another continuation pattern to confirm that this is indeed doing what, having a high probability of dropping all the way to the downside, because you're already having a small impulsive movement. All that we need is just a small continuation, and this is how we'll execute ourselves to the downside. So this is that ideal type of entry that I'm looking for on Euro AUD, guys. So overall, the market has been progressing very nicely on our end. I mean, it has been what, respecting our analysis, except obviously for that USD CAD pair that we just removed. But overall, guys, all I have to do is just to keep a close eye on these pairs, and most likely AUD and ZD is at that key area whereby it might start to do what, breakout and impulse to the downside, and also GBPUSD. It is at that area whereby it is most likely to do what, to start breaking out and impulse all the way to the downside. So this is going to be the end of our session. Hopefully it was very informative for all of you guys and you did learn something. And this is going to be the end of our session, and I'll see you next time.